New poll reveals, two-thirds of Americans support Moon and Mars missions space exploration 2025. The sky's the limit. Americans unite in support of space exploration. Imagine a future where humans set foot on Mars, and the Moon becomes a regular destination for space travelers. Sounds like science fiction, right? But here's the thing. A majority of Americans are already on board with this vision, and they're eager to see it become a reality. According to a recent CBS News poll, about two-thirds of Americans favor the idea of the U.S. returning to the Moon and eventually making its way to Mars. This enthusiasm cuts across party lines and ideological divides, with younger Americans who didn't live through the first moon landing in 1969 being particularly enthusiastic about the prospect of witnessing space exploration in their lifetime. But here's where it gets interesting. The first moon landing still holds a special place in the public's heart, with a big majority believing it was worth the effort. This sentiment has remained consistent over the years, with similar views expressed during the 40th and 50th anniversaries of the historic event. So, what drives this widespread support for space exploration? For one, Americans tend to associate the space program with feelings of national pride. Who wouldn't feel a sense of accomplishment when witnessing the incredible feats of human ingenuity and exploration? Additionally, people recognize the technological benefits that come with space exploration. From advancements in medicine and technology to the potential for new resources and discoveries, the space program is seen as a valuable investment in our collective future. The CBS News/YouGov survey, conducted with a nationally representative sample of 2,404 U.S. adults, provides a snapshot of the country's attitudes towards space exploration. The results are clear. Americans are eager to explore the cosmos and see the U.S. take a leading role in this endeavor. But what do you think? Do you believe the U.S. should prioritize space exploration, or are there more pressing issues that require our attention? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Content details. Asterisk survey conducted between June 18th to 23rd, 2025. Asterisk sample size, 2,404 U.S. adults. Asterisk margin of error, plus or minus 2.6 points. Asterisk top lines available at https://drive.google.com/file/d/1wrv1zem22fgpzhcmkrruiofwgzw/view?. USP = sharing. About the author. Anthony Salvanto, Ph.D., is CBS News Executive Director of Elections and Surveys. He oversees the CBS News poll and all surveys across topics and heads the CBS News decision desk that estimates outcomes on election nights. Americans overwhelmingly support return to Moon and Mars missions, new poll reveals. Here's a space fact that might just blow your mind. The majority of Americans are rooting for a U.S. return to the Moon and a trip to Mars too. But what's driving this intergalactic enthusiasm, and where do the generational divides kick in? Let's dive into the fascinating numbers and the controversies hiding in plain sight. A recent CBS News poll revealed a clear public mandate. About two-thirds of Americans back a Moon reboot and a Martian adventure. Interestingly, younger generations, who missed the historic 1969 moon landing by decades, are the most eager. Their motivation? Possibly the desire to witness a new era of space exploration unfold during their lifetimes. Notably, these views cut across party lines, suggesting space enthusiasm is one of the rare bipartisan loves in modern America. But here's where it gets nuanced. Only a third oppose these plans. Skeptics often point to the staggering costs. NASA's current Moon-to-Mars program, Artemis, is priced at over $20 billion and question whether revisiting the Moon is a redundant step before tackling Mars. Counterpoint. Some experts argue the Moon could serve as a crucial testing ground for Mars tech, and psychologically, a lunar win could reignite global excitement for space travel. And this is the part most people miss. The poll reflects a generational rift. Older Americans who lived through the Apollo era are less enthusiastic. Is this nostalgia versus novelty, or a practical concern about prioritizing Earth's problems first? So, the big question remains. Are we truly ready to make humans a multi-planetary species, Or is this just nostalgic dreaming on a cosmic scale? Should NASA prioritize a sustainable moon base or push for a risky Mars landing first? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Why we should go back to the moon, the case for human missions. Imagine stepping onto the moon, looking up at Earth hanging in the black void. It's a breathtaking moment, but is it worth the journey? This question delves into the heart of why humans might or might not return to the moon, weighing costs against potential benefits. While it's undeniable that crewed missions to the moon are expensive, risky, and challenging, we have a wealth of experience with robotic exploration stretching back decades. We've sent flybys, orbiters, landers, and rovers to gather data and images. Some might argue that instead of investing in human spaceflight, we could allocate funds to deploying more robots. After all, robots are incredibly reliable and capable. However, there's something irreplaceable about human presence in space. When it comes to problem solving, humans excel. They can adapt quickly, troubleshoot issues without constant input from Earth, and bring creativity and flexibility to scientific investigations. A human can cover ground at speeds a rover can only dream of. Think about a rover moving at a snail's pace of 0.1 miles per hour compared to a person's brisk walk. Humans are simply better suited for these tasks in almost every way. In fact, what a robot might achieve in a full day, a human can accomplish in just a minute. Of course, there are significant drawbacks to sending humans to the moon. It's substantially more expensive and risky than sending robots. We rarely shed tears when a robotic mission fails. But a crewed mission can cost at least 10 times more than a comparable robotic one. Despite these downsides, the productivity gains from human missions are enormous. The Apollo missions, which spent a total of 12.5 days on the moon, produced nearly 3,000 scientific papers. In contrast, thousands of papers about Mars have been published after years of rover and lander missions. On a cost-per-scientific result basis, skipping human missions would be a huge mistake. Science isn't the only reason to consider returning to the moon. The lunar surface is rich with resources that could support space-based industries. Deposits of methane, ammonia, and atomic oxygen in the lunar regolith could be harnessed for manufacturing and mining. These operations could supply Earth with refined materials or serve as a foundation for future space colonies. The moon's shallow gravitational well makes it easier to launch materials into space, facilitating missions to Mars or the asteroid belt. While fully automated lunar factories and mines sound appealing, we lack the experience to make them a reality. We need to understand how to mine and machine in low gravity, manage the fine lunar dust, transport equipment to the moon, and identify valuable resources. Human workers will play a crucial role in overcoming these challenges and establishing a foothold on the lunar surface. Beyond scientific and industrial benefits, there's an intrinsic appeal to exploring the moon. Humans are natural explorers who have ventured into every habitable biome on Earth. The moon, once a mystery in the night sky, now presents itself as a new frontier. It's a place where humanity could establish communities, plant flags, and build homes. For some, the allure of the moon is purely adventurous. The idea of creating cities and homesteads on the lunar surface isn't far-fetched. It might take decades, but it's not impossible. Whether driven by scientific discovery, economic opportunity, or sheer curiosity, the case for returning to the moon is compelling. If private citizens are willing to invest their own resources, it's a win for innovation. If public institutions like NASA are involved, it's important to remember that the U.S. space program accounts for less than 1% of the federal budget. In essence, we're investing a tiny fraction of our resources in a venture with immense potential. So, is it worth going back to the moon? The answer is a resounding yes, given the unparalleled opportunities for scientific advancement, resource utilization, and human expansion. What do you think? Is the moon's allure strong enough to justify the investment?